Hey guys, welcome to Techability, your source for no-nonsense tech. My name is Barrage, and what we have today is an iPhone 6 Plus, a device that's been highly anticipated by plenty of people. It's one of those phones that, for consumers, is essentially the consumer choice, and for diehard Android fans, maybe a phone that causes a tidbit of resentment. And we're going to discuss that today really quickly in this review, but for the most part we're going to just go through the phone, check out its features, what's new, what's not. We're not going to delve too deep into the software, guys, only because we've done so many videos on iOS 8. They're all over the place. If you guys are familiar with iOS 8, then you're likely familiar with what the 6 Plus has to offer. So let me go ahead and just go around the box here real quick. Got the iPhone logo, obviously. It doesn't say iPhone 6. See right here, it's the 64 gigabyte model. Let me just go ahead and zoom in there. You get the 64 gigabyte model, which is the Verizon unlocked model. Now, when we went to the Apple store, they literally had no T-Mobiles, literally zero. They had zero T-Mobile models, so this was all they had. But again, it's factory unlocked. You get Lte banding, so you can see the box, very simplistic. Not a fan of the blank front. I don't understand that, but whatever. All right, you can see the phone right here with the wrapping on it. Let's go ahead and pull that out. Charger, the wall charger, the headphones. We're gonna put all that back right here and get to the good stuff, which is the actual phone. Because really, man, when you're buying a phone, my good boy Perfecto told me this, you're not buying it for the box, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and take this wrapping off. I know some of you guys like that for whatever reason. So let's go ahead and take that off, take a look at the phone. So going through the spec rundown, this is a A8 processor. Now, Apple doesn't tell us whether it's a dual core, a quad core, a single core, or an 8 core. We don't know, but it's likely presumed that it's a dual core. It's got an M8 GPU. It benchmarks, they're assuming that it benchmarks about twice what the 5S benchmarked at, but then again, they say that for every incarnation of the iPhone. Now, you got a 1080p 5.5-inch Retina display. Well, they call it Retina display. It's actually 1080p now with 401 pixels per inch, and this is packed in a tiny frame. This is 7.1 millimeters. This thing is super thin, one of the thinnest phones in the world. It's not actually the thinnest phone in the world. We'll be getting into that a little bit later. Now you could see up here you have the gold Apple logo. Down below you have the iPhone and the text. This would be the A1522 model. Now you have the plastic down here, which they've replaced. This was glass with the 5S and the 5 of last year. They've actually replaced it with the plastic. So you have that, and then you have the plastic up top. The 8 megapixel camera with flash. Optical image stabilization. Up top you have nothing. Now you got to get used to that because some of you guys are going to be pushing up here for the power button, but guess what? It's over here now. So the power button is right here, right where the SIM card tray is, where before was nothing. You have the volume rockers, the vibrate and silent mode. Down below you have the speakers, the microphone, the lightning port, the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, and then again going around the device, it's just a super thin device, super light. It really does feel like it's nothing in there. It almost feels hollow in a way. It does feel very, very light and very empty. That's not a bad thing, guys. A light phone is a good thing. Now, let's go ahead and go through the software here. So you see I unlocked the phone. All right, going back to the lock screen here. You see the Touch ID sensor, improved Touch ID sensor. So you guys know how that works. You basically put your finger on it. It's kind of a fingerprint scanner, and it unlocks the phone for you. It also allows you to download apps using the Touch ID sensor. So nothing changed on the lock screen. You have the notification bar. You have the camera, you swipe over to the left, nothing. You swipe over to the right, or you swipe your finger to the right, you unlock the phone. You swipe up, you get the control center, which is not customizable. You can't customize the control center. But these features are pretty useful. I mean, you got Wi-Fi, airplane mode, Bluetooth, etc. So these are useful features that I think a lot of average users, or maybe even heavy users for that matter, would find useful. Now, you can see the notification bar. They've added these widgets. Widgets. I call them widgets, guys. I don't know about you, but I call them widgets, and I got that term from Android. You can see the variety of widgets. I'm sure you can add third-party widgets. Hopefully, that's what we're going to get at here with this new, not really new, but kind of refined notification center. You can see the notifications themselves. You can just X them out, X them all at once. You can actually reply to a text message directly from the notification center. You got tips right here, which we're going to clear. So you got the today notifications, then you have the miss tab. And you can see again, if I go down here, it says edit. So if I click on edit, I can edit the widgets that are located in the notification center, traffic conditions, calendar, reminders, stocks, etc. So we're going to go home. Now I want to show you guys this cool new feature they have here. So if I double tap twice, you can see the screen just went down. Why do they do that? Because if you're someone who doesn't have, let's say, Shaquille O'Neal size hands, then it's going to be hard for you to take your thumb and rotate it all the way up to click on an app, for example. If like your hand is down here, you can't reach up there, right? So what they've done is they've created this ability to double tap on the home button. It's a cool feature, and it's something that I think is useful. It also works in, say, the dialer, where if I double tap again, you can just kind of click on the numbers, and then if you want to get down to the lower keys, you could double tap again. Takes you back down. And nothing changed on the dialer end. You got your contacts, your keypad, etc. Nothing changed on the messaging app. Again, you can see the keyboard. It's bigger, definitely a bigger keyboard. Let's go ahead and turn up the volume here. Okay, hey, how are you today? And you can also do voice to text. Hey, Brett, how are you today? Question mark. Should we go do something? Question mark. Ha ha. And then you just click done, and you can click send, and it's going to send it to him. Of course, if you have iMessage, you'll see this in blue. Gesture-based system, so you could gesture back, you can add a text, edit a text, etc. So again, nothing changed for the most part in terms of just the everyday average iOS apps. Nothing much has changed. Same with Spotlight. You can see Spotlight, the keyboard's gray with Spotlight. In the App Store for Swipe, guys. You heard that from Perfecto. I'm not a big fan of Swipe personally, but just having that available for iOS is really it's a cool thing, because a lot of people who switch from Android to iOS are familiar with that Swipe feature. So we're fans of that. You know, that's the thing. Look, listen, guys. I want to get to this before I get to anything else. So I'm going to do an audible right now. I'm going to talk about something that I think is sometimes, you know, not really discussed in relation to Android and whatnot. Android versus iOS. All right, now you got the Note, right, which is of course a phablet. It was the initial phablet. The Note, Note 2, Note 3, now the Note 4 coming out. The Note's a great device. It's got the stylus, the S Pen. You got a lot of great features, customizations. I mean, it's the full package. Open source, side-loading apps, whatever it is that you like to do in terms of open source, an open source system / platform. Now with iOS, obviously they're not open source, okay? But what I want to emphasize here with this phone specifically is for those of you who are assuming that it's not going to have, you know, there's no use for a bigger screen on an iPhone. I do think that developers are going to develop apps that adhere to this size screen. So I think that's going to be good in terms of future development, and Apple has really opened the door to that and the floodgates to that, especially adding a 1080p display, which gives developers a little bit more creativity there to develop specific phablet apps, if you want to say. All right, now let's go ahead and look at the settings menu. You could see, obviously, normal settings menu, nothing changed on this end. Again, when I say nothing changed on this end, I mean it's iOS 8. Okay, so there's really nothing much added that's new. Touch ID and passcode, sounds, wallpaper, display and brightness, general, etc. So you can go through all these features one by one if you'd like. Really nothing changed if you're familiar with iOS. If you're not, it's very simplistic. It's a simplistic settings menu. It's kind of self-explanatory. So if you're new to iOS, believe me, it's not going to be hard for you to get accustomed to their settings menu. App Store, iBooks, Passbook. You got Health now. You can see this Health app. You could set it up to whatever it is that you'd like to do with this. Health data, sources, medical ID. So you could set up a variety of different health features. So, the iOS, they've added a few new things. For example, the phone now comes with GarageBand, iMovie Pages, iTunes, etc. So they've added bloatware. I'm not a fan of that. I don't think to me, this is bloatware. It's like, why Apple? Why add the bloatware? Like, I get it, it's free, but why add it? But nonetheless, they have added it, and of course you have the ability to create folders. So you can see I could just create a folder there. It'll automatically label it for you. Now, speaking of creating folders, I want to showcase something, guys. This phone is blazing fast. It's super fast. You see I'm opening an app. Okay, I'm closing an app. Keynote. Okay, close out. FaceTime, the calculator. Close out, FaceTime. And if I want to multitask, I simply double tap. And no recent contacts. Basically what that does is it shows me if my friend Brett was texting me, for example, it'll show me the most recent text or the most recent contact of Brett, if he texts me or whatever, and I can just contact him directly through the multitasking. Of course, you could swipe away apps. You can go back to your home screen here. All right, you can see the music player, iTunes, nothing changed there. Safari, the browser, it's just really nice browsing on a large screen. Now, one thing that I do want to emphasize is, yes, it is a larger screen, but the 1080p display definitely has crisper text. You can see that by just me zooming in. 1080p has crisper text, okay? It's definitely a little bit more crisp than, say, the Retina on the iPhone 6, regular iPhone 6. But one thing that I'm not really too crazy about, I want to just scroll down, and you got to keep scrolling in order to scroll down. Whereas with other platforms, you do have the ability to just kind of scroll hard, and it'll scroll all the way down for you. Not a big nitpick, but something I just did want to point out. You have incognito mode. Of course, you can add tabs, remove tabs, swipe them away. So that's Safari for you guys. All right, you got private, of course, which is incognito. And you know, everything else is basically very self-explanatory with iOS. Of course, I did want to go through the camera here because that's a killer. I think the camera is probably the best feature on this device, aside from the fact that it's a bigger screen. But the camera is absolutely killer. Optical image stabilization. Now you got photos, panorama square, video, and slow-mo, which shoots at 240 frames per second. That's insane. That is an insane number, 240 frames per second. So you could record slow-mo at a ridiculous frame rate, which is fantastic. You have time-lapse as well. Now for those of you who are Instagram people, you have filters directly from the camera application, so you could just simply add a filter, take a picture. Of course, you have front-facing camera as well with HDR. Alright, so it's still 1 megapixel or 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera, but good enough for selfies, I suppose. Click on the picture that we just took, or the video that we just took. You can simply edit it. Go to the variety of different editing options that iOS has added, iOS 8. Of course, the filters, if you're a super filter freak, you just want to add a ton of filters. You've got, let's see, what else? You've got the ability to share it, of course, so you can just click right here. Now, the thing is, third-party apps don't integrate here with these sharing options. So you're sharing it with what iOS is giving to you, mail, messages, Twitter, Facebook, Flickr, etc. And you can only assign, you know, it tells you exactly what you can assign it to. You can do multiple at a time from up here, but third-party apps don't sync here. So for example, if you have a third-party editing application that you want to just, you know, access directly to your photo, you can't do that. You got to go into the application and then access your photo and edit it. So just a little nitpick there I wanted to point out. Of course, reminders, notes, so you can always just simply ask Siri, hey Siri, set reminder, tomorrow 3 p.m., need to go to the doctor.
Here's your reminder for tomorrow at 3 p.m.
You can confirm it. I'm going to cancel it. What is the weather in Pakistan?
Okay, here's the weather for Islamabad, Pakistan.
What is 6 times 6 minus 3 times 2 to the third power?
Let me have a look. Here's what I found on the web for 6 times 6 dash 3x 2 to the third power.
Didn't answer it. Who is the 12th president of the United States?
Okay, give me a moment. The answer is Zachary Taylor.
Open the App Store. Alright, there you go. Open the App Store. So there's the App Store, of course. You know, the world famous App Store. And video quality. Let's go ahead and look at some video quality here real quick. We're going to look at an old video, Samsung Galaxy Note 3 review. Yeah, that wasn't recorded with the greatest camera, but
2011, it was ahead of its time. And naturally, when things are new and different, so
alright, let's go ahead and skip that out. Just fast forward a little bit.
You can actually still utilize that
Volume.
here in the charging port.
Remember, guys,
So just wanted
it's
to
a
go ahead and
single
cover
speaker
that.
with a microphone,
The
not a dual speaker.
Microphone. You have the power button, infrared IR blaster. You have the 3.5mm headphone jack, proximity sensors, as well as the air view and air gesture sensors. And on the back, you can see you have that fall leather back plate, which has the T-Mobile logo plus Galaxy Note 3, 13 megapixel. And there's my scrapbook.
Alright, exit out. Close out the video. Alright, let's do a quick speed test here with T-Mobile. On their LTE network. They claim that they added Lte Bands to this, so let's go ahead and just test that out. Alright, not bad for a phone that has 4 bars. Okay, that's still not bad. Good speeds, decent enough. If I turn the brightness is up at 100%. Basically, for the most part, it's a bigger iPhone 5S or bigger iPhone 6, excuse me. And it's enough of an upgrade, in my opinion, for whether you're an Android user or an iPhone user to take a look at it. Now, the Android users are going to say, well, we already have big screens. We don't need this phone. And you may be perfectly correct in your assessment. And with that said, I just wanted to go ahead and put it next to a few other larger phones. So let's go ahead and look at it next to the Nokia Lumia 1520 here real quick. We'll do a comparison later on down the line, but you can see the size difference here. And this is a 6-inch screen. It's much thicker as well. Okay, so you can see that here. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at it with the M8. Right there, HTC M8, which is a 5-inch display. Okay. So that's the HTC M8. You can see the size difference there. let's go ahead and just put the iPhone 6 next to it.
iPhone 5.
Oh, I'm sorry, the iPhone 5. We'll go ahead and put the iPhone 6 as well. And we'll put the Lumia. And then just for laughs, we'll put the Galaxy S3. Put the Galaxy S3 in there as well. 2012 phone. But there you guys go. You got the 5, the 6 Plus, the M8, the 6, the Lumia, and the S3. So many different types of phones here, but the point being that, you know, we've had larger phones in the past, and now I just want to show you guys what they look like in comparison. The M8 and the iPhone look very similar. Nonetheless, in my opinion, this is the iPhone 6 Plus. Is it a phone that I recommend? It's a phone that I'm a little bit impartial on right now. I don't like the protruding camera. I think it's great quality in terms of camera quality. We'll be showing you guys a separate video showcasing the video and picture quality, but I don't like that protruding camera. I don't like the build, guys. I'm not a fan of this gold. I don't know why. I just felt like if they added maybe glass white or black glass down up here and below, I would be a little bit more keen to the actual build quality of it. As you can see down below, it's actually plastic. So it's not, this right here is actually plastic, it's not actually glass. So I'm not too crazy about the build on this. It's nice and it's sleek and it feels good and it's light. It's got great battery life. The device has great battery life. And obviously the majority of people who are going to own it aren't going to complain. But for me personally, I feel like they could have done just something slightly different with the design. Other than that, guys, this is the iPhone 6 Plus, a device that is selling like a hotcake. If you guys are interested in this device, you can obviously go to Apple's website. I'm not going to go ahead and plug any of the carriers. You know where to find this phone. So there you guys go. Thank you guys for watching Technability. This is the iPhone 6 Plus. Stay tuned as we compare it to other high-end phones, as well as check out the iPhone 6. Also, don't forget to like us on Facebook. And thank you guys for watching. I am Berge. Have yourself a safe weekend.